breaking news regarding the Houston Texans. We're going to talk about it right now. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new episode of TheLead Houston, where it's all Houston all the time. You won't find anybody with more passion speaking about your favorite Houston sports teams, Astros, Rockets, Texans. No more than this guy right here. I try to do it all, so go down in the comment section. Let me know, man. How are y'all feeling around the breaking news in the NFL? This affects our Houston Texans. There is one less name on the offensive coordinator search. Ladies and gentlemen, the Las Vegas Raiders. I still think of them as the Oakland Raiders, by all means, but whatever. The Las Vegas Raiders, the ones that just recently hired Pete Carroll as head coach, that 85-year-old man going to go over there. He is also hiring the offensive coordinator for the Raiders is going to be none other than Chip Kelly. Now, I understand the Texan fan base could be overreacting to this because it definitely felt like Chip Kelly would have been a very good option here with the Houston Texans. But before we do get into that, Jonathan Alexander had an article out Friday. Jonathan Alexander, the one that works for the Houston Chronicle, had mentioned about the Texans and the offensive coordinator search, and he mentioned, why not Chip Kelly? He had mentioned on there that if the Texans were going to get Chip Kelly, they could do it very easily. Could have happened already. So Chip Kelly choosing the Raiders, being hired by the Raiders, ultimately that tells you that Texans weren't very interested in Chip Kelly, because if they were, why would Chip Kelly pick the Las Vegas Raiders over the Houston Texans? I mean, let's compare the offenses. There's not much else to compare. There's no quarterback for the Raiders side of the ball. They don't have a running back. Offensive line's meh. The only great thing they have there in Las Vegas is the tight end and Brock Bowers, their lone Pro Bowler. I mean, what else do they have? They drafted Brock Bowers. They already had Michael Mayer, and I don't know what's going to happen with him now. The Raiders don't have nothing compared to the Houston Texans with C.J. Stroud, Joe Mixon, Nico Collins, at least the Laramie Tunsil on the O-line. Like, there's pieces there, possibly a returning Stephon Diggs as well. There are many pieces to the puzzle offensively for this Houston Texans team. So why would a Chip Kelly pick the Raiders over the Texans unless the Texans weren't interested in him to begin with? And I think that's ultimately where I'm going to land with when it comes to the Chip Kelly dialogue and the Houston Texans, is that DeMeco Ryans and the Houston Texans were not interested in Chip Kelly. They were interested in his offensive schemes, though, because according to that same article Jonathan Alexander posted, and I'll make sure I'll drop that link in the comment section. If y'all want to know how to read it and everything, y'all can ask me. Let me know in the comment section. In the description, I'll drop the link. But he had mentioned that the one leading this offensive coordinator search is DeMeco Ryans. Now, they've been looking around at different offensive schemes. You still have the Shanahan scheme that DeMeco is very familiar with. Kubiak Shanahan scheme, we all know it, okay? We know the success that it does have. But do they want to go to a more spread kind of scheme like Chip Kelly? Jeff Nixon is a guy that worked with Chip Kelly as well. You know, Bill Lazor's worked with many offenses before as well. Maybe that's something they want to get into. Or do they want to look at Brian Johnson from the Eagles, more of an RPO style offense, maybe utilize C.J. Stroud just a little bit, his legs just a little bit more, considering that his legs were a factor in the playoffs. This is something that Jonathan Alexander mentioned. Now, we're not saying they're going to run C.J. Stroud like a Josh Allen, okay? But utilizing his legs a little bit more, not a bad idea. The Houston Texans have many ways to cut this bread. Many, many ways. The search to me is far from over, though. It definitely feels like it, especially losing out on a Chip Kelly. And maybe the word is not good there. They didn't really lose out on him if they were never interested in him to begin with. So the Houston Texans are going to be moving on, and they've already moved on. We just never knew as fans, because I was right there with y'all. I thought, I'm looking at the map, and my map was saying we are here to land on Chip Kelly. Like that, all the arrows in all the directions were pointing towards his way. So with that being said, no Chip Kelly, nothing for the Houston Texans. They got to continue interviewing guys like Aaron Wilson mentioned. Remember this, a lot of these external candidates were only interviewed virtually, so none of these guys have stepped into the building yet. So if the Houston Texans are going to be interested in these guys, they're going to have second interviews with them, but they're going to have them inside NRG. Just remember that. The Texans are not finished yet with this offensive coordinator search. Can't wait to see what happens. Y'all let me know how y'all feeling down in the comment section. As always, guys, go Astros, go Rockets, go Texans. You have a blessed day.